Not through, not through space and time, Christopher. Traveling through a car wash on Jerome Avenue in the Bronx. It's a $6 exterior wash, $2 for the armor roll, so that's 8. I throw the guy at the front, I throw him $1, that's 9, and then the guy that puts on the armor roll, I give him $1, so it's a $10 wash. So, I was talking to LJ today, and I was talking to LJ about the catacombs, and I keep mentioning the catacombs to her several times, and I've tried to explain it to her very casually, just never really think much about it. But just today, she said, after I said it, she's like, thank you for explaining it like that. I totally get it. Because if we know anything about the catacombs, we know that there are places, I think, in Turkey and in Paris. And I think, is that Argentina? Where there are catacombs? Possibly there are catacombs all over the world. And places where the people have the most guns, like places like here in America, they tell you the least. You get told, I'm actually trying to clean off my glasses. And I got this thing here. Let me see. Perfect. I got this thing here from my bank. Boom. And then I always fold it back up. This is my emergency one because I have really good ones. But this is my emergency one. Then I put it back in its little pouch. Pouch. Fold it back up. And I put it in my stash back there. That's my emergency one. Signal lights are not working still. I did some research on the best place to do research, which is called YouTube, and I was able to find out what the problem is. I am going to put an order in for that first chance I get. I guess this is something that I can always call Alan. Alan is my new, it just feels weird calling Alan, but this would definitely be something that I would use Alan for. And Alan is my personal assistant. I just hired Alan. And I should be calling Alan and say I need a switch relay for this car. Order it. Have it done already. Whereas I'm waiting until I get in because LJ, she was doing laundry. LJ is taking care of these children. And I was busy with the new bakery. So my new personal assistant, this is something I should have said. Hey, Alan, I just, it's going to take time because I'm not used to having someone like that around, and it's needed. I really do need. I might even, and depending on how long it's going to take to get this part, I might have to just be very responsible and not drive this car. So my excursion is, I could drive the excursion. The excursion is fixed and all done. So maybe I'll drive the excursion for the next 2 days while I get the signal light sorted. Maybe I'll just leave this car here at my guy's. But anyway, let's talk about the catacombs and how I'm correlating the catacombs to something that we need to remember. Okay? Something that we need to never forget, because the catacombs are something that were never these are things that were not in the history books. Everything that we know about the catacombs, it's out of the imagination of the people that find these catacombs. So let's just imagine we're here in New York City in Manhattan. We want to open up a new train station, so we start digging for a new train rail, and oops, what do we find? We find ourselves 14 miles of tunnels that lead to these mass burials. Breaking my neck, my bad, sorry y'all. These mass burials, and what we then do is create the history behind them. Like if you took a tour of the Paris catacombs, they would tell you how there was a time when space was so limited and so many people were dying from such various things that they would bury the people. After they bury them, they would come back 100 years later, or 75. No, they said 40 years. Yeah, I think that's what they said. They would come back after 40 years, dig everything up, which were all just, the skeletal remains. Mind you, they didn't have any arms, And the catacombs in Paris, there's no left or right arms. What you're going to find is just the head and the thigh bone, whatever that's called, the femur. And I think there also is the other bone from the knee to the ankle. And what we have here is we have stories that are created for things that we find. It's absolutely the imagination of human beings as to what's going on. I remember something about the catacombs in Turkey. Was it Turkey? Where the person was renovating a home, knocks down the wall, and finds over 20 miles of catacombs. My point is that whatever's being done has already been done. What we're experiencing today is that of something that has possibly already happened. So I would constantly tell LJ, not constantly, but I've mentioned it many times, the catacombs, this might be what the true reason for the catacombs are. And today we were speaking on the phone, and I had told her once again the catacombs, and I said that possibly we are like, all right, let me tell you the core of what triggered the catacomb. Something that I studied in 2014 when I was first waking up. So I'm correlating memories of 2014, and I'm not citing anything. I'm not citing anything in the comment section. I'm not citing anything at the moment. You just got a guy on YouTube just talking. Okay? So if you want me to be a better YouTuber, you know that's Elvis Dash Rosenberg on the Cash App. So that's $ Elvis Dash Rosenberg. And those are little motivations that have helped me become a lot better YouTuber than I am at the moment. So you're gonna have to deal with not a lot of sources here. You're gonna have to deal with a guy who is basically taking 8 years of wokeness and putting it together like a puzzle. That's what I'm doing. Look at that. I'm supposed to be signaling to go right, and I'm not. Let me just use my arm. And I believe it's down, right? Down is right turn, right turn, right turn, right turn. And then I'm gonna do right turn, right turn, right turn. Okay. So I signal with my arm because I'm responsible like that. Anyway, I will be getting this fixed. Not having signals is not a good thing. So, the catacombs and correlating to what's going on. Oh, here's what did it for me. The mayor in the city that I'm in, and in this city, we have floating in the water. We have the OG tranny down in the river. Okay, we talk about that, and we already talked about that, but that's for another show. Okay, and in this city, we have a building where a huge gorilla from Africa climbed up on it, chasing after this blonde-haired woman, and there's a famous scene where she sits in his hand. So we know which city we're talking about, right? And we know which mayor we're talking about that's in this city. And this mayor has a daily briefing with the people of this city. Check this out. There's been massive fear in this mayor's face, and even in his voice. He's like begging people. Did you know that here in the city that I'm talking about, you are allowed conjugal visits? Conjugal visits, I kid you not. You can have a conjugal visit if you are in the prison in this state without being married. Okay, all you have to do is take that push that they're pushing. You know what they're pushing. Okay, so if you take that, you allow a conjugal visit. They are also giving out $100 to people. They're saying to people, listen, if you take what we're offering, we'll give you $100 bill. First, it was like burgers, right? It was like donuts and burgers. Well, donuts and burgers came to you if you got it and you showed up and said, hey, I got that. Can I get that? And they would give you a nice burger or let you, eat a donut. Now, they're like, no, we're giving you enough to take you and your family out for burgers. Take this $100 bill. Now, they're pushing for all these different places to take this, you know what I'm talking about. So now, what we have is, in this city, in this city that I'm talking about, they have this guy that's part of the state. He represents the state, and he is very arrogant. Does not do what he says to do, whereas the mayor of the city in this state is terrified and is begging and is pleading, and you can hear the quiver in his, like, you can smell the fear. All, like, if there was a dog around this guy, the dog would be jumping up and down, panting, going crazy, because his toes would be sweating from just massive fear. It's like every day this person is on the TV terrified afraid, scared to death, scared to look, shook, telling you, please, everybody, please do this. I don't want to have to force this on you guys. Matter of fact, look at all the people that says they want me to force this on you. But the fear isn't coming from the force or the threatening of force. The fear is coming from some sort of understanding. There's an understanding in this man's verbiage that it's like almost as if the man wants to say what it is. The man wants to tell the people what is really going on, because obviously you're letting criminals have conjugal visits if they partake in what you're offering. A conjugal visit, $100 bill, and now there is a sense of fear. And if you, whoever just did that long thing, I'm not gonna read it because I'm driving, and then I kind of like, you gotta pay me to read your stuff. Sorry about that. I'm joking. That's a little page from Troy Terrain. But there's this fear in his voice. He is terrified, and I'm here to tell you, I can smell it through the freaking screen. I can't see it words, and the way he says it, it's frightful. He's afraid. He is afraid that if we do not partake in this, there's something bad is going to happen. What do I think of when I hear that? Mind you, I'm not going to source anything for the most part. I'm just going to let you know that this is years of just putting all this stuff in my mind together. And that is Geordie Rose. And if you're jumping up from your toilet seat, ready to finish using the bathroom now, I'm sorry that I triggered you in that way. But give me a second. Geordie Rose said to a group of MIT students, and it's all over YouTube. They've tried scrubbing this thing several times, but it keeps popping back up. And Geordie Rose said, there is something coming. He said it. He said, oh, I wasn't going to say his name. Damn, I wasn't going to do anything. Anyway. But his name, I guess I could say, hopefully. You know, that owl and the gore and the rip is not to be played with. I'm talking to that more than I'm talking to you. I'm first talking to that. You know how when you pray, you say in Jesus' name. You know, when you speak on this, you say in the owl. You know, so you're going through that first. And let me just say this. This guy whose name I just said, I don't want to say it again because that would be like 4 times. I don't want to trigger anything. This guy said they are coming and there's nothing we can do about it. And he said this when he was talking about Lovecraft. That's when I started learning about Lovecraftian concepts and ideologies and all that kind of stuff. And this guy is saying that what is coming is going to basically look at us like we're just a fly, like we're just peasants, like we're just not even peasants, like we're nothings, we're nobodies. They're so superior to us, and we're just nobodies, and they're coming. And he was almost as frightful in the voice, where you can hear that there was fear. There was real, true, genuine fear of what is coming. Which leads me to a science fiction show that I seen with the actor Taye Diggs. One of the really good science fiction. This is when I was watching TV 10 years ago. And Jody and Taye Diggs starred in this show, and the whole thing was when at the end of the season, I'm not gonna get into the show, but there was these shucks, I gotta get over. but my signal light is not working. I could have put my hand out. I really don't want to get pulled over, you know? So I moved over, I'm good. So here's the thing. We have this television show. And in this television show, at the end, they realized that the people they were after poisoned money. They poisoned all of the food, all of the money, and something else. And when they was able to, Tay Diggs and the FBI or whatever it is, and they always add the cop element to these shows. What they did was, when they grabbed the bad person that they grabbed, and they were like, yeah, we stopped you from what you were trying to do, says, well, when my people get here, they're not going to be as nice as me. So it was like a humane thing that was happening. It was, we're going to kill your population, but we're only going to kill off your population because it was the humane thing to do, because my people that are coming are vicious, evil creatures. Rich, evil creatures that are going to destroy you. And this was the humane way of doing it. So it keeps me thinking about, does this mayor of this city that I'm talking about, does he know something that we don't know? Is he begging us to take the shot so that there could be some sort of humane way of dealing with society? And of course, my mind also goes to the place in Georgia where they have the guide stones, and they have these stones in the ground, and one of the first things they say is to maintain humans population at 500 million. So you need to drop that, by 6.5. How do you get to these numbers? Then of course I'll start thinking about how none of this stuff that we're dealing with is new. There's nothing new under the sun, and there's constant rotation of these things. These things constantly happen. Catacombs. The catacombs might be a representation of one of the human cycles that we have to go through, where there are these mass deaths and the ritualizing of those deaths, the same way we do for those, those two buildings that got those 3 buildings that got knocked down by 2 planes. You have 3 buildings in the same city I'm talking about, back in the beginning of the millennium. 3 of them fell down, and it took 2 planes to do it. So those people that were victims of this situation, they became memorialized just with a name, just their name on a wall. People come from far and wide just to pay homage to a name on a wall, and those names and that event has been ritualized over and over and over again. So my thing is, this is probably what the catacombs represented: mass graves, and then the ritualizing of those events that happened. So it's possible, like the guy I said, the one who created D-Wave, that guy, anybody knows about D-Wave, that's basically a computer that communicates with other D-Wave computers. And the problem is that, you only had one. How did it communicate with another one? And it's interdimensional, like something similar to that movie with Tay Diggs, where it was an identical Earth that they were trying to transport to our solar system, because their Earth and its solar system, and it was like a Goldilocks Earth, just so happened to be their sun was going supernova. So because of that supernova-ness, they needed to figure out how to transplant their whole entire Earth, not put a bunch of people on ships and have them travel to a far distance away and cryo and some sort of cryo chamber. No, none of that. Why Why have a cryo chamber when we can just fold space and time interdimensionally? And let's push this earth out the way and we'll inhabit it and get rid of everybody humanitarily. All I'm saying is that most of what we're dealing with has already been done. It's been done. It's been overdone, overdone. It's ready to, it's over. Oh, that was an interesting stutter I just did. It was like my brain was just like, I was like probably fighting the download. And the download, of course, is that thing that happens to your brain when you think outside the box or witness something that you're not supposed to really kind of process or ponder on, and you just kind of just dismiss it as just, that's nothing. And I like to believe that I'm immune from the download to some degree. But I would also say that despite being immune from a download, I also recognize that that was very unique in the stuttering process that I did go through just then. And with that being said, that's obviously a story for another time. The catacombs should be something that we take serious. Okay, and you can take a tour of the catacombs because there's so much on YouTube. There are people that actually spend $100 to have a tour guide tour the whole catacombs, and these people, they want their shine on YouTube, so they don't mind the cameras. It's not like they're like, no, you can't talk to me while I speak. They're very open to that because these people want tips, and they all tell basically the same story about the burial grounds, and after a certain amount of time they took those bones and they stacked them and packed them in this ritualistic manner where they're all facing a certain way and all this kind of stuff. So all I'm saying to you is that you do not have to go to Paris to experience the catacombs. You do not have to go to Turkey to experience the catacombs. You go right there to YouTube and forget about the story they're telling you because this is all made up. You just ask yourself these questions. Where did all these bodies, massive amounts of bodies that was hidden from history? This wasn't stuff that was in the history books. This was stuff that was happenstance and fell upon and figured out and found. They found these places and they made up the story. The backstory was made up. And you know, wifey's very nervous about what's going on. And I told her, I said, you know, I don't want to go out like that. If something is coming, like the guy who created that computer that communicates with other computers through different dimensions, which is a real thing. Just imagine that. We have a computer that communicates with other computers in other dimensions to solve mathematical equations, and that this was what had summoned this computer, possibly is what this man is saying, summoned entities from an alternate reality that's on their way and will be here in 15 years. And this was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So if there's something coming, please do not offer me any money to get this humane way of dealing with this, because I want to be standing on my feet. You heard? I want to look them in the eye. If you more superior to me and I'm nothing but a flea and you're ready to do me dirty, and then let's let that happen. Okay? Because I don't need your sympathy. I don't need anything that's going to put me in a position where it's less dangerous or drastic. I'm all right. I want to go out standing on my feet. I want to go out with my chest out. I want to go out fighting. I want to go out fighting. Don't give me something so that you can push the button or flip the switch to make it easier on me. I'm all right. My family's all right. And like I told LJ, somebody got to put those bones in the tunnels. Somebody got to make the tunnels. Somebody got to create these tunnels. Someone has to create the space where these ritualistic concepts go, even though it looks like our ritualistic concepts have changed to just names on a plaque on a wall. Well, somebody has to engrave that plaque. Somebody has to build that wall. I am needed. I am necessary. My children are needed. My children are necessary. And all of us, we are not going out like punks. Do not try to save me. I don't need your saving. Don't make it easier for me. Because whatever's coming, I don't care if that computer is the one that told them where we were. I don't care what made it happen. Please stop trying to make the decisions on how I want to go out. Because I want to go out on my feet with my family right there, with our heads up and our fists up, or whatever it takes to fight whatever it is that's coming. I'm ready. And I ain't scared. Would I be afraid? Absolutely. But I ain't scared. So that mayor in that city that I talked about, he's scared. And I say to him, you ain't built like I'm built. Boom.